Your money into the kitty for the Sergeant at Arms, don't forget that this is also our week to donate to the food pantry. So, all right, so I am pleased to introduce our speaker today, Julia Stanek, who is a student here majoring in political science and criminal justice. She is Miss Hot Springs with the Miss South Dakota Organization, and she's here to tell us about that. So welcome, Julia.
Thank you all. Hi, y'all. Let's see here. So just a little bit about me. I am a major in political science and criminal justice because I had to do both, obviously, if I'm going to come to USD. I also am a rugby player for the women's rugby team. I've been to nationals twice, and both times was on the starting roster, and I also got to be president this last year, and that was super fun. Very stressful, might I add, but it was an absolute blast getting to plan our trip to Maryland for nationals, and we're hoping to go back again this year. That's been really exciting. I am also a Pi Beta Phi sorority member. I've been in it since my freshman year, and I've absolutely loved getting to do that. It's actually how I started in the Miss South Dakota Organization. There was a sorority member who pulled me aside and said, "You should really think about doing this." And I said, "I really don't think I should think about doing this." And lo and behold, as one might say, a passion was started at Miss USD 3 years ago, and I've continued competing since then. It will be my third year at Miss South Dakota come May, and hopefully third time's the charm, and we can get a USD woman to win Miss South Dakota. It's been quite a while. The most recent one was actually Amber Hulse, who was in 2019-2020. So, a little bit about the Miss South Dakota Organization. It is underneath the Miss America Organization. So if you've heard of Miss America, she's currently Maddie Marsh, who is in the Air Force and is currently attending Harvard for her master's. So that's really exciting, but Miss America was founded on 4 points of the crown, which is service, style, scholarship, and success. So as we're learning more about the Miss South Dakota Organization, what we really focus on is service, and I know that the Rotary Club also holds this value near and dear, and part of our job as Miss Hot Springs, Miss South Dakota, and Miss America is we pick a community service initiative, and mine is Fueling South Dakota, Eliminating Hunger. I've worked directly with the food pantry here in Vermillion. I've worked with Charlie Cupboards, Feeding South Dakota, working on getting food drives started in every city that a Miss South Dakota local is held, which is really exciting. So that's hopefully happening in the next couple of months. I'll be doing my mini tour of South Dakota, visiting all 7 cities where a local is held to host a food drive. So that's really exciting, currently in the works. For our second point of the crown, which is style. Now, bonus points if anybody can get this. What was the Miss America Organization founded as? Was it a pageant, swimsuit competition, or was it an internship program? That's really bold to say because it was actually a swimsuit competition started in Atlanta, Georgia to continue the tourism season, but it would later go on to have internship programs involved in it and is now known as a scholarship pageant. So when we look back on the roots of it, style was one of the key points where we've now partnered with multiple companies such as Rebel Athletic Wear for our fitness competition, Giovanni Gowns for evening gown competition as well. So it's really exciting. And this is probably one of the more personal points of the crown because you get to determine what's your own style, which is really empowering since we are a women empowerment organization. Now, I think arguably this is everybody's favorite. Everybody loves a good scholarship. I've been able to earn over $5,000 since competing in October of 2022, which my parents are very thankful for, might I add. But we are able to raise money from organizations across the state and be able to put it into scholarship funds for women just like me going for higher education, if that is a Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, even cosmetology school, tech school, or even master's or law schools. So it's really exciting when you are able to use your scholarships to further your education. And then finally, success. I am graduating from USD a year early, part in because of the Miss America organization. And this is one of the more personal points of the crown because you can kind of determine what does success look like for you. For me, it was graduating early, it's getting into a law school, it's organizing money and raising funds for the American Heart Association, as you really get to pick those intricate little goals. And finally, the bonus point of the Miss America crown, which is actually sisterhood. Now, this is not included in the 4 points of the crown, but a forever Miss South Dakota once said that sisterhood is the bonus point of the crown because you don't think about it until you join it. Sisterhood is so intricate to not only the Miss America organization, but most importantly in Miss South Dakota. I have truly met some of my best friends competing, which is quite the dynamic space considering you're quite literally competing against them for the same title. And I've never cheered louder for when Joelle won Miss South Dakota this last year, or when Miranda O'Brien won my first year. I think I probably cried more than both of them combined, but that is the beautiful part of Miss South Dakota, is this bonus point of sisterhood. Now, what is Miss South Dakota when it comes to competitions? This is broken down into 5 different groups, one of them being private interview. This is a 10-minute long private interview, and that sounds really long until you're sitting in the chair and you realize that the bell has already gone off and 10 minutes is up. But you get to talk about what is your community service initiative, what you plan to do as Miss South Dakota, how you plan to recruit, raise funds, do all of these really amazing things, and you have to say all of that in 10 minutes, which is quite the daunting task, might I add. Onstage question. This is my personal favorite. That is the hot take of the century, I've heard, but I love an onstage question. They are some of my favorite phases of competition. As a former debate kid in high school, I love onstage question. I've gotten all kinds of onstage questions, if that's from my community service initiative, my thoughts on the Russia-Ukraine crisis, what my favorite color was. They're all over the place. But that's the beauty of it, is you don't know what question you're gonna get. You don't know the topic area, they read the card in front of you, and you got about 3 seconds to start answering that question. It's a really exciting part, and it's one of the most individual parts of the competition because everybody's going to have a different answer. This is Miss America's signature phase of competition, and it is the talent portion. Talent used to be 3 minutes long, which arguably somebody said that was too long. So now it's 90 seconds, which is quite daunting if you ask me. And that picture up there, might I point out, was all of the talent award winners this last year at Miss South Dakota. And if you'll see me, I'm in my rugby uniform off to the side as I did a 90-second her story about playing rugby and competing in pageantry. And I guess I talked well enough. So I was able to win $1,000 for top talent, which was really exciting because I got to talk about the importance of leading a team and also getting to compete in rugby. So that was very exciting, and I loved getting to do it. Joelle there is in the Rebel athletic wear. She also won top talent playing her harp piece for Swan Lake. She's going to Miss America this year and is doing the same piece. So you can tune in as it's live on YouTube later this month, and January 3rd is when she'll be performing it if you're interested in her harp piece. And Emily Dinkin here off to the side. Little fun fact about Emily and I. We were both crowned at the same competition last year, so that's what's called Sister Queens. She played a flute piece, so she was able to perform that wonderfully. She also is a flute teacher at Edison Middle School in Sioux Falls. That's where I'm from, so I should probably know where it's located, right? And then this is actually a new intro, a new piece for the Miss South Dakota Miss America organization, is fitness. The teens have had fitness. They didn't really do swimsuit. They didn't think that that was appropriate. And they also decided it wasn't appropriate for misses either. So now we get to do swimsuit, or fitness, my bad. And that's in partnership with Rebel Athletic Wear, where we have then partnered and got to show what it means to be heart healthy. So we have a partnership with Rebel and with the American Heart Association and Miss America, all to show what fitness really looks like. I love a good fitness portion. I think it's very fun. It's one of the more bubbly parts of competition that it's just something that you get to do that's fun and exciting and show off what you do in your everyday life. The teens have had fitness since 2016, and they used to have them do jumping jacks and run in place and do push-ups, and I'm not gonna lie, I think if I had to do a push-up at 14 years old, it would not go over very well. So those women are very brave. And the final phase of competition, which is evening gown, this is all about confidence and a lot of practicing. Most people can't put on 6-inch heels and strut on stage. I know I did not the first time very well. I did fall my first time ever competing, so then I vowed that I was going to practice a lot of it. Although we now really joke about it because it was probably one of the funniest things I've ever done. So we always just laugh at it, and it's an inside joke between my parents and I. So whenever I get a new pair of heels, they're always telling me I have to break them in before I do anything in them, which is wonderful advice, if you might add. So I heard you guys care a lot about getting into the community and what you guys are able to do. You guys obviously are very involved through the Vermillion Food Pantry and through other organizations in Vermillion, that if you want to continue to support title holders just like me, we have a Miss USD. Her name is Janisha Gerwing. She was just crowned earlier this month. She's brand new to the title. She's never competed before, which is really exciting. So if you're wanting title holders at events or at community events, you're able to invite us, and we love getting to come to those kinds of things. And as far as what the Vermillion Rotary does financially, I am able to get my scholarship because of the Miss Hot Springs Rotary. They were able to donate to the Miss Hot Springs organization. So I'm very thankful for Hot Springs Rotary for donating my personal scholarship, which is why I've made it such a point to come here, and I'm very excited to be here today. But you guys also are able to donate to the Miss South Dakota Organization, American Heart Association, any of those partnership programs if you think that anything I've said kind of resonates with you. But truly, I want to thank you guys so much for letting me be able to talk about what Miss South Dakota is, what we do, and really the crux of what Miss America gets to be every day and doing fun events just like this. Thank you so much. Yes, absolutely.
So any questions for Julia?
I think that's right up here so I can speak louder.
How many people typically compete?
So at Miss South Dakota, we tend to have 20 misses all across the state, and we try to shoot for 10 to 12 teens. Our teen division is from 14 to 18, so a little bit smaller of a range. Miss can compete from 18 now until they're 28 years old. So definitely a wider age range, so we tend to get more misses to compete. At Miss SDSU this year, they had 35 contestants competing at that local, which was the largest local so far. So it's very exciting to see dozens of women wanting to compete.
Thanks for coming today, Julia. I saw you mention some companies up there that help or support you. Are you involved in receiving this NIL, name, image, likeness? You get any of that funding to help you?
I think I should at this point, honestly.
I have a question. So your Miss Hot Springs, so when was that competition held? You've been this for 1 year, right?
Yes, so I was crowned August 24th of this year. And I'm not originally from Hot Springs, so that's always a second follow-up question I get. In the Miss South Dakota Organization, there's things called open and closed titles. I can't be Miss SDSU, nor would I want to be. That's an example of a closed title. So there are some closed titles like that, but Miss Hot Springs, Miss Huron, Miss Clay County Fair, I've held all of those titles, and I'm not originally from any of those places, so those are all open. And you will keep your local title until the next competition. So it's not necessarily 12 calendar months. It could be 15, it could be 10, kind of just depending on when it falls.
But then you're eligible then to be, go to the next.
Yes. So the next competition for me is Miss South Dakota. It's the last week of May. In order to compete at Miss South Dakota, you have to win a local title such as Miss Hot Springs. But then after Miss South Dakota, I get to go back to Miss Hot Springs, or to Hot Springs. Sorry, I'm too used to saying Miss Hot Springs there. Go back there and get to serve the community some more.
What do you want to do with your life after you're finished with this program?
I don't know if I'll ever end up being done with the Miss South Dakota program, but everybody kind of tends to stick around and help volunteer later on in life. Right now, I'm studying for my LSAT. That's a struggle, but I'm very excited. I've wanted to go to law school since the 8th grade, and going through the USD program really has solidified that. I am taking a gap year because I graduate a year early, and the thought of having to pick a law school was very daunting, so I decided to take a gap year and work as a paralegal or legal secretary. I currently am a legal secretary, so I know I like the field I'm going into, and I would love to just kind of take a year off and really get to explore South Dakota and the United States as a whole. And then I have to pick a law school, so that will be really fun.
You ever watched the TV series called Suits?
I was watching it this morning, so very familiar with that one. My roommates and I watch it every single week.
Which character do you identify with in Suits?
It's hard to watch Suits when you think you know the law sometimes, but every once in a while I'm just like, I don't think they understand what's going on, honestly.
I think you're the smartest one.
Oh, of course she is. Everybody goes to her for what they need. There's a reason they always say, "Where's Donna?" Well, thank you so much again for letting me talk, and I'm glad I could answer any questions. If you have more, you can feel free to talk to me or email me as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Julia. 50-50. John Cole. I'm here. Gotta be here to win. Have to get someone over here. So I guess our closing song. My country